Ben Hindmarsh, when you were in ECW and a part of the Eliminators, what was it like working with the Gangsters, New Jack and Mustafa?
John and New Jack were very good friends. Me and New Jack had a little bit of a rough beginning because I'm the politely extremely snug would be the way to say it. And New Jack ain't gonna put up with bullshit. So, but he's not gonna give me any shit either, you know. So we were a little rough in the beginning. Mustafa and I were great, you know, it's just how it worked out. And New Jack and I ended up good, but him and John were extremely close.
Where did they meet? Just in the bar when he was bouncing, or?
From working.
Just from working.
Just working, you know. And Jack would always do all the brawling shit that he did. Mustafa would actually do spots. So I would more times than not break off with Mustafa and do something, and John was stuck working with Jack, and they liked doing all the bullshit they did, you know. And him and I had a little rough of a beginning. One night he came up to me in the locker room and he told me, he goes, I think that's bullshit, and if you have a problem, we need to settle it. And I go, well, I don't have a problem, but if you fucking walk up to me like that, talk to me like that again, we're gonna have a, you know. And then Mustafa goes, no, and he backed up, you know, he goes, I'm not part of it, you know. And then Jack and I talked and we got it, he goes, and I told him, I go, I didn't do anything deliberate, I'm stiff, I'm sorry. I go, but don't think you're fucking tapping me out there either. You know, and I'm just not bitching about it.
I think it's probably because New Jack came from Smoky Mountain working with Ricky Morton and stuff, wasn't he? So he was just like, you know, missing by a mile.
We had some really good matches, you know, with them guys, and the angle we did was over, man. It was over, you know, so it was, you know, it was definitely worth it. But yeah, most of the people, I'm trying to think who else I didn't get. Bam Bam and I hated each other.
Really?
I used to watch every match. I'm punching the fuck out of him. I hate it. We got in fights in the war room and everything because he doesn't want to sell, and that would piss me off. Me and Benoit were tag champions, and he's trying to no-sell us. And I would tell him, fuck, you're not a big guy, you're a fat guy. And yeah, him and I had problems in the ring. I don't think anyone else.
So was it sort of like, was he trying to work like a giant kind of thing?
Yeah, and I hit you and you don't bump, then I'm going to hit you as hard as I can. And then he didn't want to take suplexes, and I would get on. My hips are lower than his. He has no choice. And I'd get my hips down and just throw them. And then, what do you call it? Actually, in Matt Hardy, me and Dean had a huge problem with him, too.
Really? Oh, what, in ECW or
no,
like
WWF.
In WWF.
He went to Vince, complained that I was beating him up every night. They were very tight with Michael Hayes, and they would get together at night and set up the next day's matches. And Dean had more time in the ring than all of us. And both of us told him, don't do that. You know, you got to let us fucking in on what's going on. And I would tell him, you got to give Dean the respect to not tell him what we're doing. You know, and they would do it and do it and do it. And then that was it. Finally, Jeff, I'd bump all over the place for. Matt come in, I'd cut him off, you know. And just, it was not, they could have handled it better, and so could have we. So, yeah, we didn't care.
But it's like a veteran status kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It's like, I don't care. If I worked with Steamboat and I'm the heel, Steamboat's letting me lead the match too. You know, this is how you do it. Yeah. Like, you know, and he's got more credentials and credit than I could ever have. But that's how it goes. The heel leads the match. Yeah. And they, you know, and I would kept asking them, please don't do that. Please don't do that. And eventually I got hot, and when Dean gets mad, you'll never know. But everybody, that nice guy will eat you alive, you know. And so me and Benoit had a problem with them too. Because they would want to do some shit that didn't make sense to us. So I think the proper way is to negotiate some sort of settlement. And Benoit kept agreeing with them, and finally I grabbed Chris. I go, what the fuck are you doing? I go, we're not. He goes, I'm not doing that shit. I'm beating the fuck out of them as soon as we get out there. And that's what I learned. Okay, yeah, let's just agree with them then.
When do you think you became a veteran in the sense that you were comfortable enough to start leading the matches? Because I know, like with Cronus, he just followed what you were doing. But with an established team as well, and you felt that you were the driving force.
I feel I learned to work in Memphis, and I learned to apply that skill in ECW. Because ECW, we were the team. So you have that own confidence and stuff in your work. We know, like, Paulie would constantly find somebody to bring in to put us over. You know, so we were the team. And so, we learned, I already learned the psychology and stuff to work in Memphis. And in ECW, I learned to apply it and learned to believe that my idea is going to be all right, you know?